Welcome to a new episode of the Michele Tafoya podcast. It is Wednesday. That means Wildcard Wednesday, and our first Wildcard Wednesday since the inauguration of Donald J. Trump as the 47th president of the United States. And it took a mere day for the media to find a new hoax. And this one is so stupid and so ridiculous. And I'm hoping we're at a point in this country where now we're seeing these attempts by the left to paint the right as Hitler-esque and white Christian nationalists and white supremacists. I hope we're seeing through this enough that we're going to laugh at this one and brush it off very quickly. I think that we are. Before I show you what I'm talking about, please subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Rumble, YouTube. We'd love to have you join us every single episode. We have some phenomenal guests coming up. That's all I'll say, because we like to tease. There's just no way to tease this. This is just outright ridiculousness. Okay, so Elon Musk was at a rally for Trump after the swearing in, and he was thanking all of the voters because of how important he thought this election was. Now, I'm going to show you that clip, and then we're going to tell you what was alleged in case you haven't heard. Here we go. Roll it, John.
You know, there are elections that come and go. Some elections are, important, some are not. But this one this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured.
Okay, did you catch it? Did you see it? He made the Nazi sign. He made the Heil Hitler sign. You didn't see that? Of course, you probably didn't, because it wasn't. But the press wants you to believe that Elon Musk was making a fascist Hitler-type sign. Now, thank goodness for X, because many, many people posted many, many memes of many, many politicians holding their hands up like that to crowds. You can do selective journalism if you so choose. You can find anything you want to find. This is insane. Now, as an example, because our friend, our dear Congresswoman from New York, Alexandria OcasioCortez, just jumped on this bandwagon. Said, oh my gosh, if you support this Hitler signal, yada, yada, yada. Well, let's show Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at one of her speeches. Go ahead, John. Now, I don't know. Is this a Hitler thing? Folks, you're smarter than this. Do not let them do this. Do not let the left-leaning media, because see, now that Trump's in office and he's only going to be there for 4 years and there's nothing they can do about it, they're going after Elon. He's the next target, and J.D. Vance will be similarly attacked, and they will be called all kinds of names, and it started with this. Oh my gosh, Elon Musk is a Hitler support. Just for clarification, by the way, Elon Musk wears a necklace that says "Bring them home," because he'd really like to see the hostages, the Jewish hostages that were taken by Hamas, returned to their lives and to their homes. And so this is the insanity, and it took hours, just hours, for the first hoax to be launched. And, it's funny, this word hoax now, we're all using it because it's what it feels like. It feels like they're trying to tell you something that just isn't true. I hope you're convinced. I think one of the moments that is going to live on in history, and, I think these things probably happened a lot back in the day, before Twitter, before X, before Instagram, before TikTok, and we didn't see them. Right? They weren't blasted all over the globe in a matter of seconds. But there was the thing that I appreciate. I'm not going to say you have to appreciate, because you don't have to do anything. But what I appreciate about Donald Trump is he holds these impromptu press availabilities. And this one was in the Oval Office upon his return. I mean, immediately after his inauguration and the luncheon, he takes his steps into the Oval Office and welcomes in the press. He has no problem talking to the press anytime about anything. But this is one of those moments that will go down in history when Fox's Peter Doocy asked a simple question and got a very funny reaction. Roll this tape, John.
President Trump, did President Biden leave you a letter?
He may have. Wait. Don't they leave it in the desk? I don't know. Oh.
What's in there?
Thank you, Peter. It could have been years before we found it. Wow. Thank you.
Can you read it on the outside?
Maybe we should all read it together.
Let's read it.
Well, maybe I'll read it first and then make that determination.
That sounds great.
Peter, thank you very much. I may not have seen this for months.
That's just a funny moment. It's just an organic, funny moment. So I think on the outside of the envelope, it said 47. It didn't say like Don or DJT or Donald. I think it just said 47. By the way, that's a tradition that was started by the great Ronald Reagan. I believe back in when he was turning over, after he served 2 terms, he left a note for George H.W. Bush in the Resolute desk. And the tradition has gone on. I think it's a lovely one. And later, Trump revealed that the letter inside from Biden was just inspirational. Do a good job. We hope that he can. One of the things that has happened immediately, there are two, this is a two-pronged story. Parallel pardons. I'll call it parallel pardons. Just before, like in the last 20 minutes of his, and we talked about this on Monday, of his term, President Joe Biden issued preemptive, notice the term, preemptive pardons. This means pardons that will preempt any of his family members, Dr. Fauci, Mark Milley, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger of the J6 committee, preemptively pardons them for any crimes that might have been committed. His family specifically for the last 14 years. Okay? Preemptively pardon those. Now, similarly, or in conjunction, parallelly, is that a word? Donald Trump comes into office and pardons all the J6 participants. This caveat, some will be pardoned, some sentences will be commuted. Okay? So those things are happening and people on both sides are going wild more over the J6 pardons than the familial preemptive pardons. Now here's why this matters, folks. In a matter of 4 years, the press does what I like to call pretzel logic. They twist things around to make it okay. Well, Trump's going to attack his family, so therefore we've got to preemptively pardon them. But just 4 years ago, when Donald Trump was leaving office to make way for Joe Biden, there was discussion of preemptive pardons for some of Trump's allies. And here is what the press and the politicians had to say about Trump doing this 4 years ago. Roll it.
Have you ever heard of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who was innocent of all crime? Who's just an innocent person? Have you ever heard of that? Just somebody getting a blanket pardon and they're an innocent person?
But no, it's the president's own family. It's people that have been covering up for the president in addition to his own family.
Is there an innocent explanation for someone to seek preemptive pardons for family members? Would you do that if you knew you were innocent and just worried about outside forces?
The answer to that is going to be no. If you haven't done anything wrong, you sit there and go, what do you need a preemptive pardon for?
If he pardons people preemptively, he's essentially telling the public that these people have committed crimes. And we may not be aware of what they are, but the pardon is clear evidence that crimes have been committed.
I imagine if he decides to issue these preemptive pardons, it will be cast in a way that he is protecting his family and protecting their reputations from, villainous exterior forces that are against him.
First off, we should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability and that of his family members that pardons are a major obsession with him.
The idea of a kind of prospective pardon, this sort of permanent federal get-out-of-jail-free card, that seems to be what we're talking about in the case of this, right, with Giuliani and his 3 eldest children who, as far as we know, have not been convicted of a crime. Maybe they've committed a lot, and they don't want to face action. I don't know. It's weird. I wouldn't ask for a pardon. I don't think I deserve one because I don't think I've done anything criminal. But, where does that come from, that concept that you can just kind of wave your magic pardon wand?
We have Tish James. We have Xavier Becerra. Mimi Roca is literally my DA in my town. There will be opportunities to prosecute these people regardless if they abuse the pardon power as they are thinking.
Hopefully, Ellie, there will be a skyfall on this entire crime family, and there will be another day for them to die.
The president does indeed pardon, let's say, Rudy Giuliani or any members of his family. Would you see that, and I asked Preet Bharara this question, as essentially an admission of guilt?
I certainly would view it that way. I think millions of Americans would view it that way. If there was no belief in criminality, why would he think a pardon was necessary?
CNN has learned President Biden will pardon his son Hunter Biden.
Okay, I wanted to run that whole piece for you because it's so illustrative. In fact, as I was sitting here listening to it, those people could have been talking about Biden on his way out just now, but they were talking about Trump 4 years ago and the idea of preemptive pardons and how insane that was and how illustrative that was, that clearly people were committing crimes. Otherwise, they wouldn't need these preemptive pardons. Have you heard the media coming out that hard against Biden? Now, I will give credit. Some people have, even Democrats have said they're disgusted by this. The interesting thing, and we mentioned this before, when you are pardoned, you can no longer plead the fifth. So if they have investigations, some of these Bidens may be called before Congress to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help them God. And they have to. They can't take the fifth once you're pardoned. So that's going to be I don't think we've seen the end of this. And I don't wish it for divisive reasons, but let's just talk about hypocrisy there. It's unbelievable. That's why I wanted to show that to you. The other thing I want to show to you is this. I want to talk about American independence gold because the Chinese U.S. Treasury hack, a new virus potentially spreading in China. What else is unfolding behind the scenes that we aren't being told? Or worse, what critical information is being hidden? So why gamble with your financial future? Regardless of who's in office, safeguarding your wealth is essential. And many of us are hopeful here now that Trump has returned, but we all remember the challenges of the last election and the interference that hindered progress. In fact, we're already seeing cabinet members delayed. They're swearing in being delayed. Relying solely on digital systems or banks. Now that's a risk you can't afford to take. That's why I want you to take a look at American Independence Gold. Here's how you do it. Visit tafoyagold.com, TAFOYA gold.com. It's right there on the screen for you. You can learn more right now or call 833-324-4653. 833-324-4653. For generations, gold and silver have been the ultimate safe haven, weathering wars, recessions, and market crashes. This is more than just owning gold. It's about taking control of your financial future. As a proud veteran-owned company, American Independence Gold goes the extra mile by supporting military families. We love this. They cover custodial fees for life on qualifying accounts and donate a portion of every purchase to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Don't wait to secure your future. Act before it's too late. Visit tafoyagold.com now to learn more or call 833-324-4653 today. That's 833-324-4653 or tafoyagold.com, TAFOYA gold.com. Make the smart move for your future today at tafoyagold.com. Okay. So that was one side of the parallel pardon story. The other side is these January 6th rioters being pardoned or their sentences commuted. Now, this gets interesting because there were kind of two kinds of people at this riot, those who were violent with police and those who were just kind of there. And all of them were treated insanely unfairly. Not all of them. Many of them were treated insanely unfairly. And we're seeing some of them now get out and tell their stories. Well, a reporter in the Oval Office, again, let's say that a reporter in the Oval Office was allowed to ask questions. Haven't seen that for many years. To Donald Trump, the president, about this pardoning of the January 6th rioters. I want you to listen to this interchange. And I like this because you can ask any question you want, but you should also listen to the answer. Go ahead and roll it, John.
You would agree that it's never acceptable to assault a police officer,
Sure.
right? So then if I can, among those you pardoned DJ Rodriguez, he drove a stun gun into the neck of a DC police officer who was abducted by the mob that day. He later confessed on video to the FBI and pleaded guilty for his crimes. Why does he deserve a pardon?
Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and we're looking at pardons. Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything. But I can say this. Murderers today are not even charged. You have murderers that aren't charged all over. You take a look at what's gone on in Philadelphia. Take a look at what's gone on in L.A., where people murder people and they don't get charged. These people have already served years in prison, and they've served them viciously. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. It's been a terrible, terrible thing. I also say this. You go to Portland, where they wrapped police officers, shot police officers. Nothing happened to anybody. You go to Seattle, where they took over a big chunk of the city and people died. Portland, a lot of people died. Wait a minute. And you go also, take a look at Minneapolis, because I was there and I watched it. And if I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city wouldn't even exist today. People were killed and nobody went to jail. So these people have already served a long period of time, and I made a decision to give a pardon. Joe Biden gave a pardon yesterday to a lot of criminals. These are criminals that he gave a pardon to. And you should be asking that question. Why did he give a pardon to all of these people that committed crimes? Why did he give a pardon to the J6 Unselect Committee when they burned and destroyed all documents which showed that they did what was wrong, not me? Wait a minute. Why did they give a pardon to all of his relatives, his brother who made millions of dollars, to all these different people? He gave pardons. That's the question you should be answering. All right, go ahead. Yeah, please.
If I can just tell us a little bit about your... Steve, can I just follow up with that really fast?
No.
I just want to ask
go ahead.
You said you will...
It's fascinating. I can't tell you how many people I talked to that turned off the Ohio State Notre Dame national championship football game on Monday night so they could watch more of this stuff. Because this is real life. Now, the game was real life. Congratulations, Buckeyes. But I think what you see there is a different Trump. He's much more calm in his answering. He's much more measured. He's saying he's looking at both sides. Of course, he disagrees with violence against police officers. So that brings me to Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona. He similarly critiqued these pardons, and there was pushback toward him from some of our friends on this show who are police officers. So go ahead and roll Mark Kelly on the J6 releases.
Hey, everybody, it's Senator Mark Kelly. I'm here in my office in Washington. I was thinking about these pardons that the President Donald Trump just made of January 6 criminals who assaulted police officers. I'm the son of two police officers, of an aunt as an FBI agent. Cops are just in my family. And to think how outrageous, this is to, folks that came to the Capitol and beat up the police did not have to pay a price for those crimes and have been released. I think it's a really sad day for our country.
Okay. I wonder if he similarly thought this was a sad day for our country. I'm gonna set this up for you. Look, anyone who attacks a police officer deserves to go to prison or jail, whatever, however it's adjudicated. And that has happened. Many of these people have been in prison and jail for years. Okay? So I wonder if the good senator from Arizona was similarly bothered by this scene in New York City. We'll let the New York reporters tell you.
Around 8:30 Saturday night, you can see 5 men and 2 officers interacting on camera. Seems calm and ordinary until the pair of officers attempt to take down one of the men in yellow, pictured here, and then it gets ugly.
You saw the video. Reprehensible. Cowards.
It starts with one kick to a cop's head and only escalates from that point on. Seconds later, the men swarm around the officers already on the ground by this point, striking them both multiple times.
You want to know why our cops are getting assaulted? There's no consequences. And we must change this. End of story.
I don't recall anyone coming out and defending these cops or chastising New York and their local laws for letting these guys. And remember, when these illegal immigrants got thrown in jail for, hours. And when they came out and the cameras were on them, they flipped us all off. They flipped us all the bird and laughed and smiled. So I wonder where the outrage was there. I didn't hear about it. Again, many of these J6 people many of them have been bled dry of their finances trying to fight the litigation. Many of them claimed that the charges against them were just ballooned. Like they took, you hear these stories about, well, I had my hand on a table and they accused me of trying to steal the table. You're going to hear a lot of these stories as more and more of these people come out. Not all of them will be pardoned. Some of them will be commuted. There's a difference. Pardon means you're wiped clean. The slate is wiped clean. Commuted means your sentence is, ended. I would look at the pardons that Biden leveled. Although, given recent anecdotal evidence, he may not know how many criminals he pardoned, Biden, or commuted the sentences of monsters who are on death row. He may not even know. He just signed stuff. All right. How you sleeping? I sleep so well now because of sleep cream. All right, let me tell you about this. I was a skeptic, all right, I'll be honest, when someone came to me and said, you don't need a drug. You don't need to take the melatonin. You just need this topical. Okay, what? Well, it's got CBD. It's got really pure CBD and it really smells good. And I'll tell you what, I tried it for a couple nights and I couldn't believe how well I sleep. And I love this stuff. It really smells good, depending on whatever essential oil is in the one that you end up getting. So here's what I do. I take the sleep cream. I put it on the insides of my elbows and forearms and wrists. Sometimes I'll even put a little bit on my neck or on the bottoms of my feet. And the next thing I know, I'm relaxed and my body can do what it's supposed to do, which is go to sleep. You can find them at sleepcream.com, and cream is spelled CREME, sleepcream.com. Give it a try. If you don't get a better night's sleep, if you don't find you're sleeping better, get a full refund, guaranteed. You don't even have to send the product back. That's one of the things I love about this company and this product. Go to sleepcream.com, sleepcreme.com. Use the code GAMEDAY at checkout to get free standard shipping off your first order. Again, GameDay at checkout for free standard shipping on your first order. Sleepcream.com, sleepcreme.com. Use the code GameDay if you want your best sleep ever. Sleepcreme.com. Here's more of Trump taking questions in the Oval Office in case you didn't hear about this. There's a lot going on with illegal immigration. And there was discussion about H-1B visas. And a reporter asked Trump about this because I think, Elon Musk has made himself clear to the president that He likes these visas. Go ahead and roll the tape.
President, there's been some debate within your orbit over whether or not to keep or eliminate H-1B visas. What's your position on that? Do you want to keep H-1Bs or do you want to get rid of them?
I like both sides of the argument, but I also like very competent people coming into our country, even if that involves them training and helping other people that may not have the qualifications they do. But I don't want to stop. And I'm not just talking about engineers. I'm talking about people at all levels. We want competent people coming into our country. And HB1, I know the program very well. I use the program. Maitre d's, wine, experts, even waiters, high quality waiters. You got to get the best people. Now, then you go into people like Larry, and he needs engineers, and Massa needs, and this gentleman needs engineers like nobody's ever needed engineers, right? So we have to have the quality people coming in. Now, by doing that, we're expanding businesses, and that takes care of everybody. So I'm sort of on both sides of the argument, but what I really do feel is that we have to let really competent people, great people come into our country, and we do that through the H-1 program.
Okay, HB1, H-1B, I may have misspoken, HB1. But this is interesting, and again, this shows a centrist side of the president that I think people are willingly ignoring, that he's willing to look at both sides of this, that he's of two minds, and he's listening to people. So it's very, very interesting. And again, when we talk about immigration, do not conflate all immigration and illegal immigration. There's a lot of movement around this. It's so telling to hear people at the southern border when the El Paso corridor was closed this week, to hear them celebrating. And many of these are people of Mexican descent who maybe came over legally, who are saying we have to have borders. We have to have safety. But of course, the media chose to show us the one video of the one woman who was crying at the border because her appointment got canceled. They'll try everything. Now, when Trump was referencing engineers that we may need and different people may need, this was in response to a big time announcement yesterday. Big announcement. I mean, I am really excited about this. It's the announcement of Stargate. He had in 3 tech CEOs. Now, look, we're in the age, the digital age. We are living in it. You know that. So AI, artificial intelligence, let me do my best Kamala Harris. So what is AI? Artificial intelligence. AI, right? Right? Okay, I'm not very good at that. What he had to announce was a massive investment in the United States. Not of public money. Not of your taxpayer money. You're not gambling your taxpayer money away. He is bringing in investment from the private sector. He is welcoming this. So Masa Son, the CEO of SoftBank, Larry Ellison, the CEO of Oracle, and Sam Altman of OpenAI were there to watch this moment. And here's Donald Trump introducing this new program.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately.
Now, here's what you also need to know. This kind of data center requires a lot of energy that right now I don't think most grids can handle. There has to be an expansion of energy policy in this country to allow for this sort of, to support this kind of investment. And so I think we're going to be seeing nuclear. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of interesting things go on with energy. But to go on with this, Larry Ellison of Oracle, who was there, talked about the promise of AI. And this is really, I don't think we've thought of it in these terms. We think of it as a kind of invasive, a little scary, deep fakes, all of that. But how about the medical benefits of AI? Let's listen to Larry Ellison.
Once we gene sequence that cancer tumor,
You can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again using AI, in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
That's remarkable. I mean, that's the first time I had heard about anything like that. Maybe others have heard about it. I had not. And that is amazing. We all know people who've been touched by cancer, who have died from cancer. That cure for cancer that everyone says is just that holy grail that's out there that no one can find. Maybe that is in the near future, sooner than we thought, because of AI. Amazing, really exciting announcement. Stargate. You know what else is exciting? The fact that when it comes to your finances, you have options. You do. You don't just have to rely on the stuff that, people tell you, oh, just invest in an IRA. Now, that's all good and fine. I'm not going to give you advice. But when you've got the Chinese U.S. Treasury hack, when you've got potentially a new virus spreading in China, there are things going on that we don't even know about, right? Critical information may be being withheld, although I think this is going to be a transparent administration. So why gamble financially with your future? Now, regardless of who is in office, safeguarding your wealth, you've got to make that a priority. Many of us are hopeful right now in the return of in this Trump 2.0 administration, but we all remember the challenges of the last election and some of the hurdles that were put in this president's way. And it looks like they're trying to slow down his agenda already. So relying on digital systems or banks and nothing else, look, that's a risk you can't afford to take. That's why I want you to take a look at American Independence Gold. Visit tafoyagold.com now to learn more. There it is on the screen, or call this number, 833-324-4653. Because for generations, gold and silver have been the ultimate safe haven, weathering wars, recessions, market crashes. This is more than just owning gold. It's about taking control of your financial future. Now, as a proud veteran-owned company, American Independence Gold goes the extra mile by supporting military families. We thank them for that. They cover custodial fees for life on qualifying accounts, and they donate a portion of every purchase to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, which we support. So don't wait to secure your future. Act before it's too late. Visit tafoyagold.com, TAFOYA gold.com. You can see this in the show notes as well. Or call 833-324-4653. Do it today, 833-324-4653 or tafoyagold.com. Make the smart move for your future today at tafoyagold.com. Well, here's another piece of video gold that you may have missed. I'm going to show you this from two angles. So there was a prayer service for the new administration on Tuesday, the day after the inauguration, at the National Cathedral, which is stunning. If you ever get to DC, you got to walk through there. But a pastor lectured everyone in the midst of this prayer service. I'm just going to let this pastor, I'm going to let this roll. Go ahead and listen. But if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble, watch the faces of the people listening. Roll it, John.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
Okay. So now let's take a close a close up for a few seconds of JD Vance, who kind of wears his feelings right there on his face, which I've always enjoyed about him. We saw that during the debate with Tim Walz. And now we see it. And you know what? Credit his wife, the lovely Usha, the second lady, Usha Vance, who doesn't budge because she knows people are watching. JD Vance, he doesn't care if people are watching, but she is going to be amazing. I look forward to watching her more and more. All right, here's a section of that again, focusing on JD and Usha Vance. Roll it.
There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives.
I could go on about fear and how fear and fearing for your life with no evidence of your life being threatened, because there is no evidence out there. If there is, I'd like someone to show it to me. But that reaction was priceless. Now, here's an important postscript to this episode, that moment in the church. The bishop, her name is Miriam Boudy, I want to say, or Beauty, Budde. Okay. I want to show you this woman who, she's obviously there in DC. And the things she said in 2020 during the George Floyd riots, when she was out in front of cameras, to give you a little sense of who she is and what she believes.
Why did you want to come out here and send
their message? It is a message of a call for justice, for swift justice for George Floyd, for systemic justice for all brown and black people who have been under the knee of this country in ways that we have witnessed time and again. This is wrong. And this rising up, this spontaneous uprising of people, mostly half my age or younger, they're the ones we should be listening to.
And they're angry at the president.
They're so angry.
They're angry at the president. So what is your message to President Trump today?
Well, I've given up speaking to President Trump. We need to replace President Trump. We need leadership that will lead us in the ways that this country deserves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, not a fan of the president. My question is, how did she get chosen to be the speaker at this prayer session, this prayer service at the National Cathedral? I don't know. I mean, clearly she's not a supporter of the president. Now, it's fine. She can say what she wants to say. She can believe whatever she wants to believe. It's a free country. But there she is in all her glory, lecturing about things that really, in the big picture, I mean, first of all, look, again, I hope we're done slicing and dicing people into these groups, these identity groups, and we're all just treated as Americans, equal under the law, regardless of your color, regardless of your race, regardless of your religion, regardless of your gender identity. I mean, suggesting that there are two sexes, male and female, is scientific. It's not a suggestion. It's a truth. It's one of the truths that we know. You can be whatever you want on the gender scale, on the gender spectrum. That's fine. I can't understand why you're in fear for your life. There's no evidence that anyone's going to be harmed. So I think this is her hyperbolic moment to react to the president. We have bigger fish to fry in America, folks. We really do. Our education system is clearly failing in many areas, in many levels, all over the country. And here's a little proof positive of that. When the mayor of Philadelphia is leading a cheer about the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to chalk this up to maybe a misstep, but is a misspelling of a word like Eagles a misstep? Roll the tape, John.
E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
E-L-G-S-E-S is not how you spell Eagles, in case you wanted to know. All right. I guess I'll say this. I'll finish with this. I know. I've got friends. Please reassure me, Michele, that everything's going to be okay. We all woke up today, at least those of us fortunate enough to wake up today. There may be things you disagree with that this president says, or even does. We all survived Joe Biden's disastrous 4 years. Please breathe if you're one of those people who is afraid. And if you're not, if you're one of those people who, like me, is really optimistic about the future, try and share that with people who aren't. But just remember, it's deeds, not words. What does he do? And you may point to this January 6th pardoning. I would suggest that you listen to some of these January 6th protesters as they come out and tell their stories. Because they're, like I said, the vast majority of them were not violent. Those who were, maybe they're not pardoned, maybe their sentences are commuted. But can we apply our outrage equally? Can we apply our outrage evenly? Why are we quick to forgive some people for beating up cops and not others? I mean, if your real issue is violence against cops, then all violence against all cops should produce that same kind of outrage and feeling for you. All right, so be brave, do good. Wesley Hunt, the congressman from Texas, is going to be our guest soon, as is Brett Favre, the Hall of Fame quarterback, as is Marcellus Wiley, a former NFL player who I just admire the hell out of. We got a lot of good guests coming up, folks. Stay with us. Hit the subscribe button. Be brave. Do good. We'll see you next time.